Okay guys, so we have just arrived here in Dumaguete after not being able to go here for over a year. And today is March 18, 2021. And if you didn't know, Metro Manila was placed under lockdown starting March 15, 2020. That means 3 days ago was the 1 year anniversary of the lockdown in Metro Manila. So yeah, we haven't been here in Dumaguete for over a year. The lockdown started on March 15, 2020, and ever since the lockdown we weren't able to go here to Dumaguete. And today is March 18, 2021. So that's exactly what 1 year and 3 days not being able to go here to Dumaguete, but finally we made it here. If you want to, you could actually go to Dumaguete even before March 18. However, there were a lot of requirements, and you had to undergo a 14-day quarantine, which we weren't willing to do. So we had to wait for most of the requirements to be removed, and I believe to be able to go to Dumaguete from Metro Manila, you need an acceptance letter from the government of Dumaguete City. I believe other than that, you also need an RT-PCR test. So you need an acceptance letter from Dumaguete and a negative RT-PCR test. And for the negative RT-PCR test, you can either do a swab test or a saliva test, and we decided to take the saliva test. And I believe we had our RT-PCR test in the Red Cross Testing Center near SM MOA in Pasay City, Metro Manila. But finally, after a year, we finally made it back here to Dumaguete because we have to do a lot of things, we have a lot of things to do here, which we couldn't wait any longer. I mean, we haven't been here in over a year. We have to do so many things, but finally we arrived here. And the video that I just showed a while ago, the plane that we flew from Manila to Dumaguete was actually a Bombardier Q400, and that's only the second time in my life that I've ever flown a Bombardier Q400. The first one was, I believe, with Aer Lingus when we flew from Edinburgh, Scotland to Dublin, Ireland. That was on a Bombardier QR400. But every time we go here to Dumaguete from Manila, we always ride with Philippine Airlines, and usually Philippine Airlines flies the Airbus A320 from Manila to Dumaguete. However, because of the pandemic, there aren't that many customers, and for that reason they aren't able to fly a big. Okay guys, so my camera battery just died, so I have to continue recording the video on my phone. But anyway, like what I was talking about, because of the pandemic, Philippine Airlines is not able to fly larger jets from Manila to Dumaguete because of course there are not that many passengers because of the pandemic. So instead of flying the Airbus A320 from Manila to Dumaguete, they are currently flying a Bombardier Q400, or at least that is the plane that flew us from Manila to Dumaguete. And I believe the flights are also not as frequent as pre-pandemic. That was actually my first time riding the Q400 in a domestic flight. The last time I flew that was from Edinburgh to Dublin. But overall, the flight was very smooth. Overall, I really enjoyed the flight, and it was just such a good feeling that I'm finally back here in Dumaguete after a year of not being able to come here. And if you're wondering about my classes, because of the pandemic, my classes have been shifted from a face-to-face class to an online class. So my classes are currently online, and I believe that will also be the case next school year. So that's a good thing. That means I'm able to come here to Dumaguete even if I have classes, since the classes are online, so I can still take my classes while I'm here in Dumaguete. But overall, so happy to be back here, not being able to go here for over a year. It was hard. We have to do a lot of things here in Dumaguete, like pay taxes and other stuff which we weren't able to do. So overall, I'm thrilled that I'm now here in Dumaguete. But anyway, overall, my flight was very good from Manila to Dumaguete. And once again, the requirements to be able to go from Manila to Dumaguete is, first one, an acceptance letter from the government of Dumaguete City, and the second one is a negative RT-PCR test result. And we took our RT-PCR test result in the Red Cross Testing Center near SM MOA in Pasay City, Metro Manila. And for the RT-PCR test, you can either do a swab test or a saliva test. Both of it will be accepted, and you also need to have a printed copy of the RT-PCR test as well as the acceptance letter from Dumaguete City, and it will be asked if from your departure airport. So our departure airport was Manila. So when we arrived at the check-in area, when we were checking in for our flight, they did ask for the negative RT-PCR test result as well as the acceptance letter from Dumaguete City. And when we arrived at Dumaguete, so when you arrive at your arrival airport, they will also ask for the same thing. When we arrived here at Dumaguete, we had to fill up, I believe, it was a piece of paper with a bunch of questions in it. So we also had to fill that up. Then after we fill it up, we had to show the negative RT-PCR test result and the acceptance letter. Then before you leave the airport, you also need to scan a QR code with, I believe it was the Trace app. But after that, we're now back here in Dumaguete. Overall, I'm so happy that we're finally back here. But anyway, stay tuned for more vlogs. I'm definitely gonna be doing some vlogs here in Dumaguete City, travel and food vlogs. Now, of course, my vlogs will be limited due to the pandemic, but I will try to give you guys as much content as I can with the limitations that we currently have due to the pandemic. But hopefully this pandemic will be over. It's so hard, since I'm below 18 years old, some establishments won't let me in since you have to be aged you have to be ages 18 to 65 to be able to enter some establishments, and some establishments do not allow minors and senior citizens to be able to enter. So my vlogs will be restricted because of the pandemic, but I will try to give you guys the best content as I can. But anyway, guys, that's going to be it for this video, guys. Don't forget, guys, to drop a big thumbs up for this video and subscribe. Thank you so much, guys, for watching, and I will see you in the next video.